the thing about these things like privacy respecting browsers or sort of like, okay, yeah, you can take away maybe telemetry sent to Safari or I mean, Apple. So like maybe DNS lookups, but you can actually turn off most of that stuff in the settings. The reason I'm saying all this is really when there's like privacy browser products, usually what this means is they are like forking something that exists and making it like way less secure. Um, the notable exception is probably Brave, which everyone raves about. It's okay. There's a lot to be said about having a browser extension parse every single bit of data that goes through your browser. That's like you better have a really, really good. I don't want the extension that has access to all of my browsing activity to be ingesting arbitrary data from arbitrary websites. That scares the absolute shit out of me. And there's been demonstrated cases where you can run malicious code on uBlock Origin and get the rights of uBlock Origin, which is why Manifest v3 is actually a really, really good thing. But everyone got really, really pissed about it for some reason because they're like, oh, I can't block ads anymore. And it's like, well, guess what? Depending on your threat model, your extensions can look at every single possible thing that go through your browser. And hey, maybe that's not a good thing. And so everyone freaked the fuck out and was like, oh, Chrome is killing ad block because they want to make more money on ads. It's like, oh no, it's because Google values security, and they think that Chrome extensions accessing the entire DOM of every web page you visit ever is probably a bad idea, for obvious fucking reasons. But yeah, so all that to say, a lot of the times when I see browsers like these, um, usually what happens is this is like a free and open source project or something. Yeah, funded by its users. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but almost every time that I see a browser fork, it's hey, we're forking a browser that we're not going to update as much as the actual upstream browser, so we're going to patch security updates slower than normal, and we're going to remove a bunch of actual like security features. Um, for example, What's that? What's that fucking AI browser that everyone is using? What was it? What is everyone's? It starts with an A. Arc. Yeah. Where their Firebase stuff was just wide fucking open, and you could get a zero-click exploit on any Arc user. That's sort of the thing, man. Is like I would much rather use the first party browsers developed by a team that have specific security teams. So like Chrome and Safari. There are two browsers. There are two browsers. There's Chrome and Safari. Firefox, Mozilla fired their security team a few years ago, fires security engineers. Uh, Yeah, so they fired their SRTs. They fired cybersecurity people. So when Mozilla had that woman show up, I don't remember what happened, but there was a woman CEO showed up, and I say that because I think before it was a man, and they haven't had any female CEOs. So that's why it's notable, not the fact that she's a woman. Um, yeah, they laid off their engineering department. And so, and Mozilla already has a really bad history of security exploits. They lack basic exploit mitigations that have been around for like well over a decade, or not even exploit mitigations that have been around for over a decade, but like they're like Chrome, constantly fuzzes its database for memory vulnerabilities and all sorts of things, and they compile with all sorts of flags and things, and they implement actually good sandboxing. Firefox does not have that. So if you're riding around with Firefox, and again, look, everyone's threat model is different. So if you like uBlock Origin running on Firefox, like that's totally fine. But just know that you are making a very large trade-off in security. Um, So it really just depends on what your threat model is. You know, if you have your Bitcoin keys on your computer, which like most people don't do that, but like if you have your tax documents on your computer, or if you have your passwords on your computer, um, you know, I would not use Firefox personally. That's just my opinion. Um, I would reach for Chrome or Safari. I wouldn't reach for Brave because again, I don't even know how because they don't have uBlock Origin. They have their own sort of system that runs within the browser. I don't know how it's implemented, um, but it sort of has the same sort of vulnerabilities that uBlock Origin does. Where at the end of the day, if you can feed something into the parser that that runs malicious code, I mean, you're owned. So, um, but at least Brave, like they actually do a decent job from what I've seen of like not breaking the security that's been implemented by the Chrome developers. Um, so yeah, basically that's the spiel. Is like whenever people link this, and again, like if you want to use this, that's completely fine. It's just when I see stuff like this, I'm highly skeptical that it is up to snuff with the sort of quality of security that the people developing Safari can provide. It is nice that it's based on WebKit though, because everything is a Chrome browser. Um, so yeah, this does look cool though. I will look into this. Thank you for sharing that.